What does filmed for IMAX mean? It isn't just a movie that'll look great on IMAX's screens. It means that hiding from a sandstorm feels like fear in every flicker. And every triumph is felt in every sound wave. And the things we've only imagined, you can truly experience those too. That's what filmed for IMAX means. Get tickets to experience Dune Part 2 now and IMAX's exclusive expanded aspect ratio.
Taste the Mediterranean through March 19th at Whole Foods Market. Save on animal welfare certified bone and beef short ribs, sustainable wild-caught sockeye salmon, and more. Find sales on Parmigiano Reggiano, charcuterie and ground lamb. Grab an olive boule bread from the bakery. Plus, wines from the Mediterranean start at just $8.99. Taste the Mediterranean now at Whole Foods Market. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, Nilbog, Encarta.
the greatest name ever. Of all the names ever, that is a great one. I'm thinking of changing my name from Mike to Ecom.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Do you know why?
And because spelled backwards.
Yes. Do you know what Nilbog backwards is?
Goblin.
No.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
No, it is. Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards for a movie called Troll Part 2.
Yes.
When there's no trolls, but there's goblins in it.
No. It's great. So,
Because goblins are a different race than trolls, so...
see, when I started watching this movie, I thought it was just going to be about, like, this guy who goes online and complains about things, and his name is Troll 2.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Well, it's just before, like, the internet, so...
Oh, okay. Should have realized that when I saw the copyright date of 1990.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, so... I mean, I guess technically the internet may have existed, but, like, very few people used it at the time.
This is before or after Al Gore invented it?
This was before, I think.
He didn't invent it. Anyways, today on the show we are covering the 1990 movie Troll 2, which is a sequel in name only to 1986's Troll. There's no connection whatsoever between the two.
There's no trolls. There's only goblins.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The original title of the movie was Goblins.
And how do they name it Troll 2?
Because Troll 1 had a slight following, and the company that was releasing this, Empire Pictures, insisted that they call it Troll 2 because there was a slight similarity between the two.
So why couldn't they just make troll costumes instead of goblin costumes?
This was all decided after they shot the film,
Oh, okay.
and
Well, that's
everybody said goblin in there, and there's Nilbog, and
honestly,
all they had to do was change it to troll if they would have done that. But yeah,
I think goblins would have been better for the movie anyway, or like
hmm
Nilbog,
yeah,
Kingdom of the Goblins, or something like that would have been
yeah.
a better name than Troll 2,
But I mean,
even if
if they were trolls, then they would have had to change the name of the town from Nilbog to Lort.
yeah.
That
No,
would
I
have been
mean if they even kept it as goblins, they could have called the movie
yeah,
Nilbog, Kingdom of the Goblins, or something like
yeah.
that. But
Or even
they
just call it Troll 2 Goblins.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Like
hmm
maybe the goblins are like servants of the trolls,
hmm
or
You could
you
do a
know, or
voiceover and said, something like, "Oh, goblins are cousins of trolls," or yeah. But
yeah, like
no connection.
they're doing like the bidding of the trolls, or the trolls all got killed, so now they're like out for revenge, or or
I have yet to
whatever.
ever see Troll, so I don't know what the story of the first one was. So
I don't know either. I never seen it.
I know there's a character named Harry Potter in that movie, but other than that, I don't know. But
There is
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, and that was years before um, Miss Transphobia made her her books and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
another movie too where they had Barty Crouch and Barty Crouch Jr. And those are characters in the Harry Potter books as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, she probably copied a lot of stuff. Actually, too,
Yeah.
there's a book in the Shannara series, which is like 23 books, ridiculously long series. But like, there's actually a story about a guy named the Warlock Lord, and he's basically like Voldemort in a sense, like he's dark magician and stuff like that.
Huh.
Well, he like made like safeguards, like just in case like he were ever to be killed, that like he was putting like essences of like his body or soul into like different objects like throughout the world, so that like if anyone was able to collect all of them, then they could like bring them back to like a new body. So it's like literally like the Horcruxes. So she probably just copied like from
Oh
so
yeah.
much shit, and then just acted like she was like this unique
Yeah.
author.
Well, I mean, and
No,
nothing. I mean, I have other issues with her, but that's done often in literature. Unfortunately, there's only so many stories you can tell, and I'm not trying to defend her, but it happens. Um,
I know, but that's pretty specific. But
oh yeah, yeah,
like,
it is, and I'm just saying, but there are, you know, because I mean, basically the whole premise of Harry Potter is the same premise as Star Wars, and that's Lord of the Rings.
yeah,
So yeah, you know,
yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
orphaned boy.
Orphan boy, powers, needs training.
Lives with an aunt or uncle. Goes,
You know, except in this case, it's a school, not being trained by like one person.
yeah,
Yeah, totally. So do you want to talk about the Goblin movie that's called Troll 2?
yeah. So first off, quick reaction to this film.
Uh, you talking to me, or are you saying?
Yeah, what's your quick reaction to this film?
Oh, my quick reaction is that it sucked. It was okay in the beginning. I do have one comment, and I know, it's I know that looks, aren't everything and all this stuff like that, but like as I was watching this, I'm like remembering like women like hit differently like in the 90s, early 90s and 80s, it seems like. I don't know, they just look different.
Yeah,
Like I don't know if it's hairstyle or what, but like I think like the kid's mom in here is like super pretty, and like I know, you're not supposed to say that
yeah.
because you're not allowed to like appreciate beauty anymore.
She is.
Ooh,
She
that always
is.
sound like a cancel culture guy or whatever. But
Yeah,
like, but yeah,
she is. However, she does have this look in her eyes, like she's looking past everything.
yeah,
That
maybe
kind of
she's
like
looking. I got teleprompters.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying. It looks like she's reading cue cards or something the whole time.
it could be.
I don't know. Or trying to
But
remember
yeah, I
her
don't know.
lines.
Just
Could be.
like,
Yeah.
like, like I don't know. It's just like people look different, like
Yeah.
just like from 30 years ago. But that's my
Well, yeah.
that's my line. That's
We
gonna
all did back then. It was like clothing and
yeah.
hairstyles and stuff.
But that's my line. It's gonna quote get me canceled or whatever. But
I
whatever.
don't
It's
think that
fine.
would get you canceled by saying that they looked different.
I don't know. I said she was pretty, and that's you're not allowed to do that anymore. Just making shit up. Sorry.
You had me worried there for a minute. I was like, I'm never going to
Well,
speak again
because
then.
I'm like it's like I'm joking because like when people say that like you're not allowed to do something anymore, it's like no one is actually preventing you from actually
No.
saying the doing the thing. It's just that someone might criticize you for it. Like so it's not the same like not being allowed to do something literally means like not being allowed to do it. Like
Oh, yeah.
there's like an actual preventative measure from causing you to be able to complete the task. You know what I mean?
Did you know that murder is like now illegal?
Yeah, well, I've known it's been for a while actually, but
I was joking.
so yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
And you'll be more than just criticized for it. You'll actually go
Oh, okay.
yeah. But no, I was just joking because like I always hear that thing of like, I'm not allowed to say that anymore. It's like, no, you're still allowed to say it. It's just that someone might disagree with you. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I
but
mean, I think saying that a woman is attractive is not a bad thing. It's when you are a asshole about it or something, or
yeah.
make it.
Or if you call someone ugly,
Mhm.
like a swimsuit model, for example, because she's got curves and
Yeah.
apparently, you're not into that, like Jordan Peterson. Anyway, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, so Troll 2, Jordan Peterson would not approve of.
Yeah. So, yeah, but besides that, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it sucked. I thought it was terrible.
Hmm.
The beginning was okay. Uh, the cinematography was decent during the beginning, first 15 minutes maybe. And then things really start to kind of go awry around 25 minutes maybe, and then the rest of the movie is just complete garbage. So
I
that's my
think
rant.
my thing is I think it's the most unique and interesting film that I have ever seen in my life. Um,
It is unique.
yeah,
It
that's
is.
what I'm saying, and it is horrible, but I found it
The
enjoyable.
premise is something that I've never really heard of before. I don't think I've seen a movie anything quite like this.
No,
So yeah.
we were talking just a minute ago about how like Harry Potter and Star Wars and whatnot are the same.
Mhm.
I guess you could almost actually put the hero's journey on this to Joshua. He could be
Yeah,
like
I mean you
he could be
could,
your
but
Luke
it's
Skywalker here or something. But I mean, it's like, or your Harry Potter. But
Joshua Potter.
yeah. But I
It's
don't. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But it's
It
a unique
is.
story.
I mean, the cinematography is interesting at times.
Yeah.
Like right now, I've actually got the movie on silent, just
Hmm.
watching it, and then his sister is like lifting weights, but she literally doesn't have any actual weights. She's just lifting the bar, and
Now
she's got like a belt on and everything. Like she's like a wrestler who's like really into like weightlifting. Like,
I'm on this website called Horror Film Wiki, and this
yeah,
can't be right. There's no way that this is the proper budget of the film. It says $200.
no, that can't be right.
That it had to be more than that. I
No,
mean,
the cinematography alone
yeah,
is
the film would
for
have
that.
cost more than that, and not to mention actually the food in the movie would have cost more than that. Um,
Yeah. Oh, this
so
looks like a real movie as far as like the quality of film.
mhm.
It's like you don't hear like a bunch of outside sounds and like it's not filmed on like video and stuff like that. Like there's no way this costed like $200.
Oh, here,
Maybe they meant two
okay,
hundred
that
thousand.
website's just wrong. I've got something that says 100,000,
See, that sounds
which makes
more.
more
That's
sense. Okay, that's still
I
really
I could
that's still for 1990 or 89 when it was filmed is
yeah.
very low budget.
Yeah, I can
Mm,
see them pulling it off with 100 grand.
yeah.
Because it seems like they spent most of the money on the cinematography rather than like the acting and the story and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It actually does look pretty good, like visually.
It looks like a film of the era, almost. I mean,
It does.
with the
It's
exception of the effects and the costumes and stuff.
yeah, but the actors, I mean, like the light goes on them good. It looks, decent to me. And of course, I don't know if this is maybe a remastered version. Maybe I don't know what I'm watching, but like
that wouldn't change the way the light falls and stuff. It would
oh,
just make
okay.
it look better. Anyways, so okay, let's jump into the plot here.
Okay.
Okay, this film, all right, it begins with our main character, who's a young kid, probably about, I don't know how old you say, he's like 10 or so, 10 or 11 or something.
Probably. Yeah, maybe 8. I don't know.
Yeah, named Joshua Waits. He is being told this story about these creatures called goblins that supposedly still roam the earth, and there's this like really weird story at the beginning with this girl with fake freckles, who's posing as a goblin and feeds this really disgusting looking green stuff to this guy who's being chased by goblins.
I mean, it looks like the grossest food you could ever like. I don't know who
all
would
the
want
food
it.
in the movie does.
It does.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I'm sorry, but if somebody offered me that, I would not eat that, even if this is in like olden times or whatever, when the story, But
I mean, if I was like starving, I would. If I didn't know that there were goblins, if I knew they were goblins and I knew what their plan was, then I wouldn't eat it. But
and yeah, this movie, by the way, is direct. I'm just gonna say this here. It was directed by Claudio Fragasso, an Italian film director, under the name Drake Floyd.
nice name.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and it was written by his wife. And
Okay.
his wife, Rosella Drudy. Yeah, so that's we'll get into them more later. I just watched a documentary about the movie, so there's more stuff I know, sort of, because of that.
Okay, cool.
There's a documentary that came out in 2010 called Best Worst Movie, which, is appropriate for this movie. So okay, we've got this guy named Grandpa Seth telling Joshua these story about these evil goblins roaming the world who force or trick humans into consuming poisoned food, which will turn them into goblins' favorite type of food, which is vegetables.
Yeah, they're vegetarian.
They're vegetarians. Yes. That brings up my first question in this whole story.
What?
Why don't they just eat some carrots or corn?
Well, because it's like I don't know, like maybe it's because it's bigger. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
And like I wonder if this too was like some like weird like anti-vegetarian propaganda film or something like that too. Like,
that's where the interesting thing comes in.
This is where like vegetarians are like they're like goblins, man, or whatever.
So
also another thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say. So the writer, the wife of the director,
yeah,
in the documentary I watched, said that when she was trying to come up with this idea, for a horror film, a bunch of her friends had just become vegetarians, and she started to hate them because of it.
Okay.
So that's why she came up with the idea. She's like, well, there's a lot of vampire movies, and they consume blood, and I figured instead of blood, let's make it vegetables.
Okay.
And then turned them into trolls somehow or goblins, along the way. So yeah.
Well, why did she hate her friends for becoming vegetarians?
She did not say. She just said I started.
It sounds like some right-wing bullshit. Like it's like every time like these people like project like their own weird insecurities on the people who eat different. They do. Like
I don't know if it was like at the time, because like at the time I think a lot of people that were not that I'm trying to say that vegetarianism is bad, because I don't think it is at all, and I have a lot of friends that are vegetarian or vegan. But what I'm saying is, at the time, a lot of the people that did become vegetarian were the type of people that were just like snooty and basically looked down on you for not being one.
I don't think so. I think that's
in Europe at the time, and that's
I
where
think
she
that's a
went.
projection of the people.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying
onto
that
the
that's what
vegetarian.
a lot of the people at the time viewed people
Yeah,
as, is what I'm getting at,
yeah,
more so than, I don't know if they were like that, or maybe these specific vegetarian friends of hers were like that. And so then she decided,
maybe,
hey, I'm gonna, write a movie where they're the villains.
maybe. I've just had multiple experiences with like, like for example, like people found out that I didn't drink, like they would take it personally, and they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, you think you're better than me because
Oh
you
yeah.
don't
No,
drink?"
that happens
It's
to
like,
me all
no,
the time.
dude, like
Yeah.
you go ahead, bon appetit, drink yourself into liver failure. Go ahead, like I don't care, like,
Yeah.
but like
No, I
so
mean, like
don't,
some good friends of mine who are vegetarians never bring it up or
yeah,
at all, so I don't really care. I find out
like,
about it, and I have nothing against them, and I'm not saying that, I don't want to get canceled for that. No, anyways,
yeah, man, get canceled for. Everyone's getting canceled these days, bro. Everyone.
I'm
It's
just
like,
trying to explain how she probably came up with the idea, and it was probably a lot of projection, but it was also the
yeah,
idea
it
that
sounds like.
the idea that maybe these specific friends of hers just, when she wouldn't join them as a vegetarian, they decided they didn't want to hang out with her anymore or something.
I doubt. I 100% doubt that's true. Anyway, that's no
No,
matter.
I'm just
That's
saying possibly.
no, I know.
I'm trying to come up with possible ideas. I'm not, I'm
no,
just,
I understand.
yeah.
I'm just expressing my idea that I don't think that's true. I think she's probably had her own weird issues and was like, oh, what if the vegetarians were evil goblins
Mhm.
and then they eat the people and then like I don't know, who knows?
But
Who knows?
anyways, back to the movie.
Yeah.
That's just, has nothing to do with the movie really, just the idea behind it. So, basically why this is going on, we find out, so Grandpa Seth is sitting there telling a story, and so it turns out Grandpa Seth has been dead for 6 months.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
somehow still reading the scariest, like, creepy stories you want to read a 10-year-old kid before he goes to bed.
See, that's what I was gonna bring up that point. I'm like, why is he telling them these horror stories before bed? Like that's the weirdest shit ever. Like
It's like the equivalent of telling, like, the real Hans Christian Andersen version of The Little Mermaid, or the
yeah,
Disney-fied version is what you're going to want to tell your little girl while you're reading her bedtime stories, or little boy. You're not going to tell the real one. So it's like,
I know. It's just like what the hell. And
yeah.
but then again, since he is dead, maybe it's just his own imagination of hearing these stories or something like that. But
Yeah,
like,
so you don't, so like, basically his mom comes in, and you know tells him, so the thing is like, she says to him, like, what you got to do, he's been gone for 6 months, and it says, saying, just go to bed or whatever. She says you got to, like, what is it, something, basically wipe him from your mind.
yeah, that was
And
weird.
I'm like, if somebody tells me to, like, wipe my grandpa from my mind, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that part was yeah, concerning, to say the least. It's like we all miss him, I know, and it's like, well, wait a minute, but so none of them have to wipe him from their
Something like
memories. But
purge him from your mind or something, she said. I can't remember the exact line, but it was like, what the?
and it's like the doctor said, so I don't know if he's in like therapy or counseling or something like that. I don't know.
And I guess like, so the script was all written in Italian originally, and then translated into English by the
Oh,
by the
okay.
director, and he would not let people improvise or change any of the dialogue. So that's why a lot of the dialogue is very strange. So,
Right. So what's interesting too, the dialogue didn't really seem like it was translated from Italian to English, but
well, I mean, it was translated by somebody who speaks both languages.
oh,
So, you know
okay.
what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, that you'd have to, but I mean, like, he speaks pretty fluent English, but
Oh,
but
I
it was
see.
originally written by his wife in Italian. But he also, though, afterwards would not, but he wouldn't communicate in English with anybody on set, though.
Gotcha.
He
Okay.
was very, I don't know, he seems like a weird guy. But
Yeah, I mean, I would
He
imagine.
thinks this movie's a masterpiece too, by the way. So
Oh, of course it does.
yeah.
And who wouldn't?
Um,
And who wouldn't? Do they? So do they notice that the food is like green and shit, or is that just like, or does it look like real food to them?
I think that's the way it looks. It it's got to be. I mean, I think so.
So why would they think it's normal to eat everything with like weird green frosting on it, even for like food items that normally
Exactly. I
wouldn't
couldn't tell
have?
like at one point they have like an ear of corn and it's got like green on it like where
Yeah, they just showed it right
it's like
now in
is
the
that what
dinner table.
did they think it was butter? Like what they I don't know.
Green butter, but
Yeah.
even like the drinks they have out is like a green Kool-Aid kind of
Mhm.
punch, and that's why I was starting to wonder if that's what the food really looks like, but they don't
Yeah.
see it the way it looks like that because they're being tricked by the goblin. By the way, since I'm watching this when it's on mute
Mhm.
and I'm seeing stuff going on, so like when they get to the and we can kind of backtrack a little bit, but when they get to the farmhouse or whatever they're staying at, the kid from the because like they're doing this weird like family swap thing where I didn't know that was a thing. I wouldn't trust rando
I don't think
strangers
that is a thing.
like to go, oh yeah, you can stay at my house all summer and I can stay at your house all summer or for like a month and like we don't even know each other. Like I would not no, I wouldn't trust anyone to do that. Maybe it was different 1990, culture was different. I don't know. It does seem like people were more trusting back then, so I don't know.
I don't
But
know. I had never heard of anything like this in my life, so
so it's weird. So yeah, they have this weird like house swap situation and right now he's about to take a piss on the food. Sorry, that's the whole other. That's
yeah.
later
So
on. But like,
what-
so
yeah.
sorry. The thing I want to point out though is that when the family leaves to go to their house, the kid from their family throws like a softball at Joshua, and he catches it, and then it says, "Eat before we eat you." So
Yeah.
was that supposed to be a threat or a warning? Because if he's telling them what they're gonna do to him, that's like a dumb strategy, isn't it? Because like normally you wouldn't
That's what you
like
do in a badly
if
written
like
script.
if you're like in the army and you're about to like raid like someone else's like base, normally you're not gonna like send them an email and be like, by the way, we're gonna raid your base in an hour, make sure you
Have you
leave.
ever seen an
Like
old James Bond movie? The villains would do shit like that, where they would just basically lay out the plan to Bond, and he'd be like,
but that's usually right when they got him trapped though and stuff.
"Yeah," but it's
Like
still
this is
like
like
telling him basically how to escape the trap.
it's I never that's why I never really liked the James Bond movies because of those kind of scenes of just
Yeah.
like why are you doing this? But yeah, this kid throws so but I'm jumping ahead now. So you want to start from the
Yeah,
beginning?
we'll go back here. So basically, after we find out Grandpa Seth is dead, which would have been a better title for this movie. Um, uh, there's a scene where we think some guys are breaking into into Joshua's room, but no, it's this uh boyfriend of his older sister Holly, named Elliot, um, and he spending a lot of time with his friends, and for some odd reason, she accuses him of being homosexual because of this, or
Yeah, that was such
he
a
says something
weird thing.
like, and then after that, she says that says my dad hates you. He would he hates you so much that he would chop off your little nuts and eat them.
Yeah, that was a weird, a weird line.
And the whole scene when they're acting, like a lot of the acting in this movie, I mean, no offense to the actors, and a lot of them that have talked about it afterwards know that they sucked in this movie. And they're fine with it. And some of them have gone on, like even the girl that played Holly went on to do other movies and stuff, and she's fine. But it looks like they're not even talking to each other a lot of the times. Like they're looking past each other, and like they're in like they're in a school play, like a high school play that is not well directed either. Where like you're looking out at the audience to try to find your mom in the front row or something, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like whenever Holly would say her lines. She was just distant from what was happening. It was weird. And same thing with Elliot in those scenes. In that scene especially. But anyways, her basic thing is that she you know, tells Elliot that they're going to be doing this family exchange thing, or not family, house exchange thing.
Yeah.
And her family's going to go to Nilbog and live on a farm. And these farmers are going to come and live in their house.
And you don't even know who they are. I don't know how they met.
Yeah, I mean, was there some kind of exchange program or something? Like what?
I mean,
was there a flyer up at the Kroger or something for them to?
Why would you want to go to a town that has like 62 registered like residents, like,
and nothing to do?
There's nothing to do, like literally nothing.
And I mean, I understand the whole wanting to get away from the city and and relax and stuff, but they're moving to a working farm too. Like I think they still have to farm there.
Yeah, that's it is. Because the dad said, "Like, yeah, I gotta wake up early." It's like, why would that's a vacation?
Yeah.
What? Like, okay, that's stupid.
It's like like I said, I can understand like, oh, maybe there's this country house that I want to go to and just
yeah,
kinda, like,
sure,
unplug from technology and whatnot and just do that. But usually there's at least a a store nearby that you can actually get real food too.
not green weird shit, but
Yeah. And there's other things in that would be in a community.
Right.
So anyways, basically she tells Elliot about that and tries to get him to come with them to stay on the farm with them for however long they're there.
Yeah.
And basically tells him, like, yeah, but there's you got to do it under one condition. You can't come with your friends, because you can't come with your boys, as she keeps calling them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
And Elliot does not show up the next morning.
And she like crying about it and like, yeah, if we just waited for 15 more minutes. And...
Yeah, and then the dad says we waited an hour and a half, and I'm like,
yeah, that's definitely more than enough time to wait on someone.
Wait for the guy 15 extra minutes. That's about all I would give him,
Like I'm just saying right now, if someone's an hour and a half late, it is totally acceptable to just leave. Like, yes. I'm sorry, like no phone call, no nothing. I
mean, I did have that date one time with a girl, and she never showed up, and I just sat there for like 5 hours. I'm joking, I never did that.
Well,
anyway, so.
But we turned out that they actually left early, and they wanted to get there before the family did for some reason, which doesn't make any sense.
They had to get the keys for the place or something, and give the keys to the new family to their house or whatever.
I mean, that her boyfriend got there before they did, so instead,
yeah, that's true, because they ended up leaving, and he and his boys decided to take an RV that they somehow have that these teenagers have access to.
Exactly. Really nice one too.
Yeah, and for the time it definitely was, and it's like they take it out there so then they can spend time there and try to get with all the horny girls in town or something,
Yeah, in Nilbog with 62 people live there.
Who are all like mostly middle-aged men.
That's what I'm saying. 62 people all together, not 62 young women, 62 people.
Yeah.
Which means that like there might be like 5 or 10 at the most young women
at the most, yeah.
I mean, it's so stupid of them to even think. I don't know, whatever. And then, he showed up with his boys, and that was against the rules. And
then there's a scene where okay, the family's in the car, and Joshua has this like freak out where he has this like nightmare where this green shit is like sweating from his forehead, and he's like freaking out and saying that he's sick, and then his whole family turns into goblins.
And he
yeah,
turns into like a plant or like a half plant.
Yeah, and then
like vines thrown out of his hands and shit, and like.
And then he tells his dad that they got to stop the car because he's feeling sick. So they pull over to the side of the road, and there's like a hitchhiker there that Joshua sees as his grandpa Seth. And then he turns back into the hitchhiker, and then they get into the car, and his grandpa Seth is basically warning them, "You got to go back. You can't, you can't go to Nilbog."
My whole thing is, why is he telling all this to Joshua, and not? Because the thing is that other people could see him, because
eventually, yeah.
Holly saw him inside the new house.
Yeah.
And then like Seth is like, "Oh, I'm still getting used to the lay of the land in this house," or whatever.
I mean, the smart thing to do would be to go to Michael, the dad.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if he has access to the entire family, or at least both children, why not go to the older sibling who the parents might take more seriously, especially since she hasn't been claiming that she's been speaking to him for the past 6 months, whereas Joshua has got pretty bad track record.
And that's the other thing. Why has he only been speaking to Josh for the past 6 months?
Exactly. Why
doesn't he, talk to his son or his daughter-in-law or his granddaughter?
Right.
So
but then there's this part too where he mentioned something about goblins, and then Michael was like, "Goblins," and he had like this sort of like, the way he said it was like he had like this prior knowledge that like maybe his dad told him the same stories, but then that was never brought up ever again. So like
it could be like something like, it's like, "Oh, that's my dad's weird thing that he does." He talks about goblins.
I know, but he looked kind of like scared, like a little bit, like maybe it was true.
But then again, or that could just be bad acting.
Or it could have got cut. Maybe they had a scene in there and then they just cut it, so it just totally ruins the
flow,
the thing. Yeah. So the hitchhiker. So yeah, they're like, "Get out of they're talking to this random hitchhiker. Get back in the car or whatever, And then they go, to the whatchamacallit, farmhouse, and the family's like super rude, and they're like, don't even like answer their questions or even like talk to them. They're like, "Here are the keys to the house," like, and then like
my feelings right then, if I were Michael and Diane, the parents there, and that's the family that I'm giving the keys to my house to, that's when I'd be like, "Yeah, we're not going to do this."
Yeah, we're just gotta go home now.
Yeah.
But what's hilarious though is that like the dad keeps like talking to him about like all the amenities of their house, and like the family is just like walking away silently to the car. Like, "Yeah, we got like air conditioning, TV," and like it's like the guy drives away and he's still talking to them. It's like, dude, they're not acknowledging you. Like, get over it.
Yeah, I mean that was weird. But prior to that too, like when they were on the road, they're like probably a good, like, I don't know. I'm not good with distance, but quite a distance away from the RV, and somehow Elliot and the boys, which would have been a better name for this movie, is standing there waving to her as she passes by somehow, and she flips them off, and they can see her flipping them off, and it's like there's no way you would have been able to see each other.
No, not from that far away. I mean, she saw the RV and apparently saw them.
You could probably see the RV and they could see the van, but there's no way you would have been able to know that she was flipping them off or that they were waving or what,
Yeah.
But yeah, we weird things like that just happen throughout the movie, but I guess we're supposed to suspend our, disbelief on that.
Well, of course. I mean, it's called Troll 2, and it's about goblins, not trolls, and
I'm gonna nitpick about the fact that somebody can't see somebody waving when there's a movie with.
Well, it's fine, and it's also anti-vegetarian propaganda film, so there's a lot of stuff to about here. And I gotta say though, I am like in love with the mother of this. Like, I think she is so pretty. Like, I don't know, maybe I saw this when I was like a little bit younger, and like when I was starting to like become interested,
So
you
you've
know,
seen
and
this
stuff.
before? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like something about her is doing it for me. I'm not just gonna leave it at that, you know.
Huh.
Then, uh,
Okay. More power to you.
I'm not saying like I'm that super horny. I'm just saying like, you know,
I mean, you have a
something about.
poster of her up on your wall above your bed.
No, I'm just saying
Right.
something about her look. It's just something I don't know. I don't know. It's something about it. But anyway, the dad though he's kind of weird, and so there's a scene, right? So like, um, so we're trying to figure out the time. Yeah, so they get the keys. The weird family leaves, and then suddenly like there's like a whole bunch of food just left on the table for them. So they're like, oh, this is great hospitality. They just left us a whole dinner to eat, which is like weird. Like
Yeah, this was
nobody
right
does
after the
that.
softball incident too, with the.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like eat before we eat you. And then like Grandpa Seth is like by the window just as they're about to eat, and he's like, you gotta make sure they don't eat or whatever. And he's like, how do I do that? And he's like, I can I'll give you 30 seconds to stop them. And apparently he could freeze time with his ghost powers here.
So,
I'm
so
like, God, Grandpa Seth is like got some powers, you know? And then so like he's got 30 seconds to get rid of all the food,
so
and
yeah, Josh does the greatest thing in movie history.
he pees on the he gets on the table and pees on the food.
Yep.
He doesn't throw away in the trash. He doesn't even throw plates outside in the yard, you know, in the grass. Like they're not gonna go pick it up and eat it from the yard or if it's thrown in the trash.
Mhm.
But he's thinking quick and he's like, I gotta pee on this food somehow for some reason.
I do want to point out that while they were frozen, Holly had a ear of corn in her hand.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, did he pee on
Uh,
corn
uh,
that Holly was holding?
yeah, I don't like that.
Me either.
That's like got some weird like
Yeah.
quasi sexual. I mean, he's just a kid, but
Speaking of
I don't.
quasi-sexual things, the next scene.
What is the next scene? I don't know what.
So the next scene, Michael takes Josh and he's like, got him, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
takes him
Sorry.
upstairs, and
Yeah,
there's like they have like all the names on the doors of where everybody's supposed to sleep or whatever.
which
He
is
says,
another weird thing.
yeah,
Why are they designating rooms?
yeah, and it's so he says, you see that that's hospitality, and you don't piss on hospitality.
Right. I love that. You don't piss on hospitality.
That's one of the best lines in movie history.
It is.
And then he starts to like what looks like he's about to take off his belt. And then Josh says to
first
him,
he throws Josh. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
He throws him on the bed, and Josh says, "What are you gonna do to me, Daddy?"
He first because he's carrying him like army style, like when like a soldier's wounded, he like on his shoulder, you know. And then he's carrying him like through like the hallway, and like he's like naming off all of the names, like this is Holly's room, and this is you don't piss on. And then he throws Joshua like violently on the bed, and then he looks like he's doing something with his belt. He's like, "What are you gonna do to me, Daddy?" Like, "Oh my God!" And then like it turns out he's tightening his belt because then he goes like in some weird monologue about how like he was poor when he was a kid and suffered from hunger.
He's like I'm tightening my belt so I don't feel hunger pains.
Like this weird backstory of how he was like a hungry kid. I'm like, okay, I mean, if you want to explore that, I guess, but like,
And my thing is I'm not sure how, I'm not a doctor or a dietitian or anything, but I'm pretty sure that if you tighten your belt, that's not going to stop you from being hungry.
That's just like one of those like, theories, like I don't know if it's true or not. Like because I know like
it really scared me after the scene of knowing that a kid pissed on all the food, and then that scene happens right after, and I'm like, what the fuck is the dad going to do to the kid?
I
was worried.
I knew nothing was going to happen.
I had a feeling, but I was like, where the fuck is this movie going?
Well, the other thing I was thinking is, that he was going to like beat him with the belt.
That's what I was thinking too. I mean, that was the other thing, and I'm like, oh God, I hope that's not either. But
That's what I was worried about. Like, I mean, both things could go either way because, like, just the way, like, what are you gonna do to me, Daddy? Like, oh my
But the
god.
cinching the belt for hunger pains was not in my mind at all until it happened. So I was like, okay.
It was weird. It was a weird thing, yeah. And it is so that happens, and then a bunch of other stupid shit
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
What happens after that?
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
One of Elliot's friends named Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold.
He goes out for a walk, and there's this woman running, and he basically goes and tackles her.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. He thinks he's like protecting her.
Yeah, but it looks
by
like he's
chasing her.
It looks like he's assaulting her.
Yeah, but in his mind, he thinks he's protecting her.
Yeah.
He's like, because she's screaming, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you." Yeah, I got it right now. I just rewound it.
Yeah.
And he starts chasing her. Hey, guys! Trying to call the guys in the RV. They don't hear him. Puts down a cigarette. He's chasing after her. He's already got a stitch in his side because probably doesn't run at all. And then, yeah, he eventually ends up tackling her.
And then he gets like wounded, like stabbed or something by the.
Well, no, because she's like, "Are you human?" And he's like, "Yeah. Do you want to see?" And it's like, "Yeah, that's weird." And then,
what did he mean by that? Like he was gonna show.
Who knows what he meant?
I don't know.
And then, so like, she like points out, it's like, "Are you like the monsters and the food?" It's like them. And then the goblins show up, and then so again, we're living in a universe now where nobody but Joshua knows of the existence of goblins, and even he has not actually physically seen one yet.
Yeah.
He just believes his dead grandfather's ghost grandfather's stories.
Like you do.
Yeah. And Arnold sees about 12 of them for the very first time, not even knowing of the existence of goblins up to this point either. So there's no preparation of knowledge that goblins exist. And he just saunters on over to them and is like, "Hey, we're gonna have a big problem if you don't leave this lady alone." I mean, these goblins look absolutely terrifying. And like, he's not scared. He's just like, "Hey, go away." I mean, like, if anything, Arnold is probably like the hero of the story. He's completely stupid that like, and he even does like an A-OK thing to her too, like, "Yeah, I got this." Like,
yeah.
And then they throw like a spear at him, and then like,
and so they go looking for help after that.
And boom! Look at that! Boom! Right in his shoulder, and he's like, "Ah, no!"
And so he's got a mortal wound there, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, that was like a big stick too. That was like,
and they run off and they go into this like church house thing and meet this woman who's like the goblins' druid leader, I guess. And her name is Creedence Leonore Gielgud.
And is she human?
I think she is she's their leader.
But is she ever transformed into goblin? Or is she always human?
I think she's always human.
So she's not a goblin.
But she's their
leader. They don't eat her because she's the lead. So she's a human who's a leader of goblins who eat humans.
So what I'm reading online is that she uses her Stonehenge magic stone to give the goblins power.
Right, but I just want to let that thought sink in. She's a human who's the leader of goblins who eats humans.
Yep. She's a cannibal.
And she doesn't see any problem with goblins eating other humans like her. Okay, I guess. Whatever.
Right, and I think they're going to turn on her either. Anyway, so...
apparently they haven't. I mean...
Or maybe they can't or something because she's...
Or maybe they can't because she's their leader. But, like, the most overacting of all time award goes to this woman. Like, I mean, like, I've never seen someone overact. What's that?
She was great.
I mean, it was so bad it was good. I've never seen anyone overact as much as this woman. Like, if she's still alive, like, I actually want to, like, meet her in real life. Like if she's like still
I don't think I
around.
can't remember if she was. I'm trying to remember if she was in the documentary I just watched, but I watched it in a couple sittings. So,
And later on, she
yeah.
makes herself look super hot in order to
hmm
seduce one of the guys. Um, but
But anyway, she tells them that in Nilbog they don't have they don't have a hospital or doctors. They 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 basically do like holistic medicine or something, and she
yeah, basically
yeah,
like
which you can't really do for a flesh wound like that. Um,
no, you gotta need to stitch it up. I mean, yeah, you could give them like herbal medicine afterwards, but like
yeah,
to help with like the healing process. But like, yeah, you're gonna need to,
and
you know,
she ends up duping them into drinking this magic potion that she has, and
well, first the girl or the
yeah,
woman.
the girl, and the girl like turns into this like puddle of vegetable matter.
Like she drinks first, and she immediately
Yeah,
starts like vomiting up the green shit. I'm like watching it right now, literally. And
yeah,
then
and then she's eaten by the goblins.
like yeah, she eventually like turns like slowly, and then she's just like this puddle
And
of green.
and my thing with this too is Arnold sees this and is still like, "Hey, I'll drink this shit."
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, he just takes a tiny sip at
hmm
first, and then sees what happens to her.
Yeah.
So then he stops then because he realizes. But my favorite line ever, well, actually, there's so many, is when he finally sees that they're eating her because she's finally turned into like just like a big pile of like green goo, and he's like, "They're going to eat her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god!" It's just like the like.
Which is one of the most played videos on YouTube. There's like
Really? Is it?
that scene, yeah.
Oh, and then like zoom in too on his face when he says, "Oh my god!"
And the audio to it like echoes and stuff sort of too. It's
Oh,
weird.
it's hilarious.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, look that up online if you don't want to watch the
Okay.
whole movie. People look
Yeah.
that up. Yeah. Um. Yeah. The So yeah. Um. Anyways, later when he's in town randomly, Joshua's just because it's 1990 or whatever, and you just let kids wander in a strange town.
Right.
He looks into a car mirror, hoping to get a hold of Grandpa,
Right.
but he succeeds in noticing that the reflection of Nilbog is Goblin spelled
I
backwards.
mean, like, it's so obvious. Why would you? I mean,
Why would you
if
name your town that?
you're trying to like, trick people. I mean, maybe the goblins just really aren't that intelligent. Maybe that's why they need a human leader.
Mhm.
Because they just can't do it on their own. So,
But why would she allow this? and,
I don't know.
why do they all act like they're like part of a cult that is like
Well, they are part of a
yeah,
cult,
but I
but
mean, but even like creepier than that. So it's
so what I don't understand is, for one thing, the costumes is just hilarious in this movie. But like the goblin costumes are just like is
yeah,
fantastic, and or super fantastico as the Aladdin movie would say,
hmm
or no, was it super magnificent? No, it was
super
oh shoot.
Tangino.
Yeah, that one. It's oh my god, and there's a fly in his head forehead too. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that was hilarious. And then yeah, he tells his dad, he's like, "It says goblin." And that's because they were at church and the store was closed until they got back from the sermon.
Yeah,
So they're like some weird religious town, but the religion is like a weird form of druidism with like vegetarianism mixed in. Which again, that's why I think this is like an anti-vegetarian propaganda film
hmm
because like they literally have a religion that's based on vegetarianism as like a core doctrine. Which I know that some religions have that, but like most religions who have vegetarians, like that's not like part of their sermons, isn't talking about being vegetarians.
oh yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's not like you gotta go to a Hindu temple and then like the entire sermon is gonna be about like, oh, they eat sausages. And they're like, yeah, like it's not like you know what I mean? Like uh
So
I don't know. It depends on which temple you go to, maybe. But I've been to the Hindu temple a few times and I'd never heard a sermon like that. So I don't know.
so anyways, they try to Josh goes in there and then they basically get a hold of him and are trying to feed him some ice cream that is like, you know, looks like melted mint chocolate chip or something.
Yeah, they're like, we all know that children love ice cream, and it's like, do you? How do you know anything about anyone? You're a
Yeah.
weird town of goblins. Like,
And so they somehow convince Michael that because he comes there and he hears Josh screaming, and they convince him, including the family that was supposed to be at his house, who were there, and say,
yeah, they didn't
we're
leave.
leaving later this evening. We had car trouble. Yeah.
Okay,
And
whatever.
and they
Fires.
convince him that it's it's all copacetic, and whatever. And so Michael takes Josh home. But he grows slightly suspicious. I mean, you can tell, but it's still.
He tightens his bell again. No, he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, and there was a scene earlier too where one of the other boys um went into town and was trying to buy stuff, but a cop pulls him over, a sheriff,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and he offers him a sandwich that is like the most disgusting looking sandwich I've ever seen in my life.
It's got that green shit all over it
Yeah,
again.
and he eats it. I'm like, why would you?
Why is nobody finding this green shit suspicious? Like it's on every item of food. Like, do they think this is like a special sauce that like this one town has, and like they're just like, oh, let's just be polite and eat it. Like I don't.
Maybe it's just because I'm like a really picky eater, but I wouldn't eat that if I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Well, no, because it looks like a combination of like a real sandwich and like some weird kind of like frosted cookie. Like, who would want to eat?
Yeah, I mean, and in my opinion, this is just a form of police brutality. It's wait.
Well, no, he gave him a ride. He's kind of nice. I mean, of course, he's there to kill him, but like,
he's just trying to turn him into a plant thing. So he.
And what I want to understand is why do they need to do this, and how are they tricking enough people throughout the year? Like again, who gets the idea of going to a town called Nilbog of 62 people, like, and like, oh yeah, let's go hang out here on a work farm, mind you, where we actually have to do work, so it's not really a vacation.
Yeah.
And then like, how are they roping in enough people to do this so they can then eat their human/plant bodies? I just don't understand. Again, I don't think it was thought through at all. But
no, I don't think so. But anyways, the family returns to their house and finds that the village has prepared a surprise party to make up for the misunderstanding. Elliot's there too. I forgot Elliot, shows up too.
Is Elliot again?
Elliot is Holly's boyfriend.
Oh yeah, that's right. But we got to talk about Arnold. What happens to Arnold?
Yeah, that happens. Arnold turned into a potted plant.
But he's still alive, and he tries to get not Elliot. He tries to get the other dude.
Yeah.
To carry him
out the door, but then
because his mouth was covered up, and then he pulled the thing, and he's like, get me out of here. And he's like, how? He's like, just pick up the pot. And so it's like hilarious because
pick up your like 120-pound friend and this pot,
and he's sitting there like trying to drag him out of the, and then like the druid lady comes back in and it's like, oh, you weren't planning on leaving or whatever, and then for some reason, again, I don't understand. So like when the woman got turned into green mush, she was like writhing in pain.
Yeah.
Before died and got turned into green mush. But then she has a chainsaw and she's like, this is just gonna tickle a little bit, and she starts cutting up Arnold and he starts giggling and laughing. So
Yeah,
it's like,
because
so
he was turned into like a tree, whereas
oh, okay.
I guess there's different things that you can do with these potions or something. I don't know what the fuck
I
happened.
mean, I guess just like how we eat different things,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
the green goo is like kind of like a dessert, and then the plant is like who knows? And then
Who knows? I mean, if you think about it too much, your head will explode.
yeah,
And
because he's sitting there like giggling and laughing as he's getting a chainsaw
mhm.
on him, and then he's turned into like like a smoothie, I guess, to then give to the other dude
Yeah,
with the yellow shirt. I don't know his name. And then
me either. I can't remember.
I think he ends up dying probably too or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
And then
I guess there was a scene cut that he was in too. So from
I think
so
yeah.
yeah,
And
um,
so yeah, yeah, but then they the big surprise party where they
yeah,
got all this.
yeah, and they got all this food there. They're trying to get the family and Elliot to eat, and yeah, they, um,
It's
yeah,
oh fucking uh I forgot. Yeah, Grandpa Seth tells Josh that they have to touch the tree or something to concentrate on touching the tree to stop the goblin
yeah,
from
it's like a
having
stone or
power.
something. Yeah, they have this weird scene with that, and then, but I don't know. They end up saving the family ends up getting saved by Josh and Seth at one point, but we
Josh
also
and Seth.
but we have like one remaining friend of one of the boys, Brent. Um,
Mhm.
there's a scene where he's seduced by the lady.
Yeah, like she turns herself really hot, and then she's got a thing of corn, and
Yeah,
he's watching TV, and then like it goes to like watching her walking down the road, and then
yeah,
which is weird, and then she's like, "It's not TV. I'm really out here," or
yeah.
something.
And
And
so
then
they,
he opens the door, and then she like has sex with him,
but
but they, yeah,
yeah, but he
yeah.
tries to get him to eat the corn, and he won't eat it because he says, "I don't. I only like popcorn." He says, "Well, we'll
So
heat
then,
things up."
like it turns to popcorn as they're like making out while eating the corn.
Yeah, and
It's kind
popcorn's
of weird.
coming from everywhere in the RV, which makes no sense.
It was
Um,
weird.
yeah. Um, so that happened. Um,
Yeah, I guess they have to eat everyone in town. Apparently, like I don't get it, but
uh,
like,
I don't know. And so we have this whole scene where Josh, Elliot, Holly, Michael, and Diane decide that they're going to hold a séance because Grandpa Seth had died or something. I got confused by that. So like he got pulled back to hell. He
yeah,
says.
that was the other thing I was gonna say. I'm like, wait, so Grandpa Seth was in hell? What the what the fuck?
What did he
Like
do to get in hell?
exactly. I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna send you back to hell. It's like, wait, what? Back to
Yeah, like you're
like, okay, like
so you're haunting your grandson from hell this whole time. I'm confused.
maybe
Um,
that explains why he's telling him all the scary stories. I don't know.
yeah,
And then but no, then Josh was like, "Are you in hell?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, so
it was
okay,
confusing, and they
why did he?"
they hold a séance to bring him back.
And then he's got these weird powers now where he can like
Mhm.
cause lightning to happen and like weird shit like that, and it's so confusing.
So the goblins break into the house, and and they end up transporting Josh to Creedence's chapel, where the way Josh ends up defeating her by opening up his bag and revealing that he has a double-decker bologna sandwich, as he calls it.
Which how did he get this sandwich? That's one thing.
Yeah, and it looks like looks like he took a whole thing of Oscar Mayer bologna and just put it between two like hamburger buns.
Which I understand. Why do you need to eat that much meat? Why couldn't
Yeah,
it just been a regular sandwich? Why do you have to
exactly.
take like? I mean, that's like a lot of cholesterol, and they're even saying that too. They're like the cholesterol and the toxins again. Like this woman just had it out for her
Oh yeah.
vegetarian. Like for some reason, they're like fuck you for being healthy. High cholesterol is awesome. High blood pressure is awesome. Cured cheap meat is great. Like you're a
and
piece of shit if you don't eat bad food for you.
but
Like,
somehow after
okay,
he eats this double
get it.
decker sandwich, um, it makes his body poisonous to the goblins.
Yeah, because they don't eat meat.
Yeah, and he touches the Stonehenge stone, which destroys Creedence. Um, and then the family decides to go back, which, I don't know why they didn't just stay in town, because
I mean, yeah, I was
it's
hanging
such
out
a,
in Nilbog.
you
I
know,
mean,
because, there's so much hospitality, and you don't piss on hospitality. And,
no, and that's all
yeah.
goblins are dead, so it could just be like the five of them now. But that would be boring. But
So they go back home, and for some odd reason, they make a point of pointing out the fact that Josh and his mom are just going to the house, and right after you get home, um, Hallie decides to go over to Elliot's house, which makes sense. But then, right when they get home, Michael decides he's going to work.
yeah, like yeah, I was gonna go back to work.
Yeah, like you were supposed to be on vacation. I'm pretty sure work would understand if you wanted to, go home and hang out with your family who just went through a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
his way of just dealing with it. I guess was just like, oh,
yeah, fuck my family. I don't care. I'm gonna go
yeah, who
work.
cares? Who gives a shit? Yeah. That-
I don't
what the
care
hell,
about my
man?
kid and my wife, but whatever. Anyway, so the
Yeah, is and then
and I
then
get
she
and then the family left. The family that was there had left some food or something, I guess, and yeah,
yeah.
and the mom ate some of it, and dun dun dun, she turned into vegetable shit in the shower.
I hated that ending. Like that made the movie even worse for me.
And
Like
it's
why?
like you don't know what happens. Like it's setting it up for a sequel, basically. Because
Oh yeah,
because
I'm sure
well,
that
the
troll.
director wanted to make a sequel. He had an idea for
Oh, I'm
Troll
sure.
3.
And do it by killing the mom off, like you fucking
There are a
asshole.
couple unofficial sequels. One including George what's his name? George Hardy, who played Michael, who played the dad.
Hmm.
He's in a sequel called oh shoot, I can't remember what it's called, but it's yeah. It looks like a doozy and looks like something I want to cover in the future.
Oh God.
It was made in like 2020 though. So,
Oh, sorry.
like
Um,
30 years later. So yeah. Um yeah. I don't know.
I
Five
was so pissed off though when they killed off the mom. Like, why would you do that?
yeah.
Like, you asshole, you piece of shit. Like, why? Like, you just ruined the whole movie. It was like already traumatic enough as it was that you had to just add an extra layer. And that's all the goblins were killed. So how the goblins get to their house
To eat
when
her, or did she just turn into this goo because she ate the stuff? And
I know,
maybe
but
maybe
how do
there are
they
no
get?
yeah, I don't know because they were
How do
eating
they
her
get?
later. Yeah.
Why not? But how do they get to? Well, it couldn't have lasted. I mean, it was only like a few minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
like, how do they manage to get to the house?
Unless it was the family that was.
But they were at the church though,
Yeah, so
so
I'm
they couldn't
confused.
have. They just probably forgot and they made a mistake, and then
Yeah.
and because they didn't think to pull any of this through. So, uh, I really hated this movie so
Yeah.
much.
Do you want to hear some trivia about it before we wrap things up here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So here's some trivia pulled from the Internet Movie Database. I'm not going to read any reviews like we do sometimes because the reviews are pretty much all the same. People like
Yeah.
love it or hate it or whatever, So the entire cast went to a casting call hoping to be extras
Hmm.
and ended up in lead roles.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah. Um yeah, the director is still angry about the film's poor reception. He crashed a cast reunion Q&A after he was escorted out of the room. He heckled the cast from the hallway, calling them liars and dogs as they answered fan questions. Um,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
um, yeah. George Hardy, when he auditioned, acted out the whole "you can't piss on hospitality" scene in front of 9 smoking Italians, none of whom understood English.
Wow.
Um, the one there's like this one really creepy guy at the store at one point who's wearing like a like a farmer hat, and he's got like wild hair and wild eyes. His name is Don Packard, the actor.
Mhm.
Said that he was in and out of a mental hospital during filming. When he watched it later, he realized he wasn't acting in his scenes. He really was just disturbed as his character.
Which one?
This is this guy that's like this guy at the like little store who in one scene when one of the boys asks him for some coffee, and he says, coffee is the devil's drink and all this other stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was actually just mentally disturbed at the time when he was acting.
Oh well, maybe they should do something like that for Kanye just to keep him busy. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
just
maybe
put him in a
maybe
movie
make
and like,
another like Troll 4 or something. And anyway,
yeah,
so
there
yeah.
you go. Internet Troll 4, and then
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah.
um the Yeah, because basically it says that the writer, like I said before, got the idea because several of her friends became vegetarians at the same time. Um um they in fall of 2007, during a special screening in New York, the cast members said that during production they had serious doubts about how the movie would work. The entire crew spoke only Italian except for the costume designer who translated the director's directions to the actors. So I guess the director didn't really speak that well of English at the time. So I
Okay.
don't know who translated the script, or he wrote it in very poor English, but he got mad at the cast for
Wow.
improvising ever. Um, the Something I heard in the documentary. So they had to when Arnold was turning into a tree, they had to screw his shoes into the base of the tree pot,
Okay.
and because of the budget being so low, they were actually his own pair of Chuck Taylors that he owned. So they ruined
Oh,
his
okay.
shoes for the movie without his permission, really. Um, the American VHS cover features an artwork consisting of a little boy with what appears to be a troll doll being chased down a dark corridor by what looks like a werewolf brandishing an axe. Neither the boy nor the werewolf appear in the film, and as mentioned before, no trolls appear either. So,
Wow.
um, the actors were only given parts of their script on a scene by scene basis, so rarely did they get any kind of context as to what was supposed to be happening. Um,
Wow.
the little dance scene that Connie Young as Holly does in front of her mirror before she's going to bed in one scene, and then is frightened by her grandpa talking in the mirror, was
Right.
completely improvised by her. That was like one of the few improvised things. Um, yeah, I guess George Hardy beat out more than 100 other men for the main role, even though he was actually just auditioning to be an extra.
Wow.
Um, um, yeah, most of the people didn't see the movie until it aired on HBO because it never had a theatrical release. I don't know. That's pretty good for trivia here for us, I think. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts? Any final thoughts here on the film?
Oh yeah, we don't need to like go through everything because it's such a terrible movie. But
Yeah.
no, not really. I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed it for being bad. That was about it. But it's not like something like a lot of people like love this movie and will watch it again and again and again. And it's not like something I really want to watch.
yeah,
You know, maybe if I got like a big group of friends together or something like that, I might watch it. But that'd be about it.
yeah,
Yeah. But something I would do is go to all2real2.com and check out all the links to all of our stuff, to our
yeah.
social media or YouTube. Yeah, go to our TeePublic and buy some merch. Go to our Patreon and help us out. But more importantly, tell as many people as you can about our show. You know, just walk up to people and make them eat some weird green food, and then after they're done doing that, you'll just be like, you know what now? You should listen to All Too Real 2. I think that's the best way. So make sure you go to the town of Nilbog and convert all of those people into All Too Real 2 fans.
Well,
Oh
yeah.
God, I don't know. So anyways, but more importantly, go out and love each other. Be good. Remember that I love you. And Sesame loves you. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.